Hi, everyone. I'm Linda Sheldon Fell with Todd Nigro, and we are here tonight with a show just for grievers called Hope for the Holidays. Hi, Todd. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you tonight, Lindy?
I'm doing very well. So, we are covering the United States from coast to coast. I am north of Seattle, and you are over in Georgia.
That's right, just south of Atlanta.
That's right. And it's beautiful down there. And it's beautiful up here, too. So we are reaching everyone in between and around the world, really, because this is a show for people who have lost someone they love. And the holidays is a really challenging time. It adds an extra layer of sadness for those who are missing someone. And we are here tonight to talk about it and offer tips for how we've coped. Todd lost his daughter in 2012. I lost my daughter in 2009. We're going to share our own tips, but we invite you to join us. Share your tips in the comments. You can post a comment. And also, if you've got a question, we will be happy to answer questions. This is a show for all of us to just lean in together and learn from one another. So let's get going. So, Todd, you lost your daughter, Ellie, in 2012. And how old was she?
Ellie was 6. She was almost 7. Just six,
And
a month short
so,
of 7.
and so, what do you remember about that first holiday season? Because you think of Christmas. For many of us, Christmas is a time where this is a time to honor Jesus being born, and it's a very special time. But for children, it's a magical time. And so we see it through their eyes, and it has that extra layer of magic. And so, what did you and your wife do that first holiday season without Ellie?
Well, I guess I can relate totally to what you're talking about with the magical time. And Ellie, she died on January 20th, so it was just after the holidays. And kind of one of my fondest memories was that Christmas before she died. My wife went on a trip, and Ellie and I basically decorated the whole house, put the tree up, and did everything over a weekend. And mainly because she was bugging me and she wanted to do it, and it was just a special, special time, and I'll never forget that. And this may sound interesting, but we changed things up the first Christmas. We went on a cruise because we wanted to just do something different, and we actually, as a family, we all enjoyed that very much. So we've done that every year since, and so I guess it's 6 cruises or so over Christmas. But this year, believe it or not, our work isn't allowing us to do that, so we're going to be home for our first Christmas. And in a strange way, now I think we're ready. We're going to put a tree up. Keep thinking about what kind of tree and need to go buy one, and we're going to decorate it, and we'll probably all be home on Christmas for the first time since Ellie died. So it's going to be a different year, but I think we're ready, and we really enjoyed the change and the different tradition that we created.
Yeah,
So we still may
yeah.
go back and do that again. That's how
Well, and so how old are your boys now?
um, Tyler's 20 and Jake is 18. So
Okay,
they're both
okay.
actually, we're empty nesters now. So they both the boys are going off to college now.
Right, right. And so, have you thought far enough ahead to think about what you're going to do with Ellie's stocking?
No, no. Um, I think we'll put the tree up first, and then we'll kind of see what happens. I've actually thought a little bit about trying to get the fireplace going again. And we haven't done that either. And
Mm,
I think it'll be interesting. And the other thing is too, it's not just me that I'm considering. My wife as well. I've got to consider what's comfortable for her in this process too. So we'll just kind of see how it goes for the two of us. And
yeah, yeah. And so, are you nervous at all?
no, not really. I really I miss that magical Christmas that we had with Ellie and the kids. When they were younger. And so it's just talking the other night, and I'm looking forward to grandkids when they come. Not any hurry, but I feel like that might be a chance to do that again, to feel that again.
Well, I can speak on that behalf. We have a grandson, and he has certainly helped. And what we did when we lost Ellie in 2009, our youngest was 13, and we had a 2-year-old grandson. And so I kept everything the same. I just operated on autopilot, and I felt like my heart was full of coal. I honestly did. My entire world had been robbed of Technicolor, and I did not feel any beauty, no joy, anything about it. I really would have loved nothing more than to skip the holiday season. But because we still had kids at home and a grandson, I kept it normal. I did what we had always done because I felt like life was anything but normal. And so I wanted to offer that little bit of normalcy to him. And what we did with Allie's stocking, our daughter Allie, is we filled her stocking with pet toys and treats. We have dogs and a cat, and I couldn't bear the thought of not having her stocking with the others. It just didn't feel right. We were already dealing with the empty chair at the table. I couldn't deal with not having her stocking there. And yet at the same time, it felt very strange to leave it empty. In particular, when you have a grandson who believes in Santa Claus, why would he leave one stocking empty and fill the others? And I love the magic of Christmas, and I wanted him to have all the wonderful experience of the magic of Christmas. And so I came up with the idea of filling Allie's stocking with cat toys and dog treats. And that's what we have continued to do all these years. And we have not gone on a cruise or gone out of town, but I do know that people do that. It's too painful to do what they have done in years past. Their tradition feels kind of flat. And so the truth is for viewers is that you've got to do what feels right in your heart and apologize to no one. If you want to go away for the holiday season and people are saying, oh, you should stay home or do this or that, you need to do what's best for you. And, let others figure it out for themselves, but do what feels best to your heart. So what do you think about that, Todd?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think for us, that worked for us. The way I look at it is we were close. We had a good bonding experience, maybe more so for us as a family than if we stayed home, because we were in close quarters and spent a lot of time together for a longer time. And I think that was what we needed. And I'm not sure we did that on purpose when we started, but it was, I think, a wonderful benefit over the years for that. And I totally agree. And I gotta say, not everybody agreed with what we were doing, and it didn't matter. It was okay.
It's unique to each of us as a fingerprint. And so you have to honor what feels right in your heart. So I know we've got some comments, and I want to see if viewers have some suggestions for how they coped or questions. So Holly Lemke says, my dad passed exactly 2 weeks before Christmas 5 years ago. Holly, I'm so sorry. I know that Christmas must be a very triggering holiday on top of, the additional sadness. So I'm very, very sorry for the loss of your dad right around Christmas time. That has to be tough. So Carla Coleman Waddle says, I love having our Josh's stocking up with everyone else's stocking. It is hard having Christmas with him missing. It was his favorite holiday. And I think that is, thank you, Carla, and I'm sorry for the loss of your son. I think that that's one of the hardest things with the holidays is that it's rich with tradition. And so hanging the stockings with care, by the fireplace or, a mantle or what have you. And then suddenly, what do you do with that empty one? So I would like viewers, if you have ways of dealing with that empty stocking, let us know. Write your comment and we will read them. But I think that it's something that all of us struggle with. Okay, so Nicole Stamp says, it will be 1 year Sunday since I lost my husband. What should I do by his memorial site? And I think that that is, first off, I'm sorry for the loss of your husband, but that's an excellent question. A lot of people wonder, what do we do? Some people, decorate their loved one's headstone, or the memorial site if they died, in a car accident, that kind of thing. And so, Todd, do you have any thoughts on that?
We didn't bury Ellie, so I don't have a whole lot of experience with that. But I would just say, whatever you feel comfortable, whatever you feel led to do, go with that. Is what I think I would do if I was in that situation. But I haven't had any experience.
Okay. I've seen people go full out on decorating the loved ones, memorial, their headstone in the cemetery, or what have you. A dear friend of mine and a co-author of one of the Grief Diaries, Kim Thomas in Canada, her son was killed by a drunk driver, and they have a cross right at the accident site, and that is always lovingly adorned with just beautiful flowers and all kinds of tokens of remembrance. And she posts them on Facebook, and it's really heartwarming to see that. It's also offers a gentle warning to drivers to be careful. And so, again, you got to do what feels best to your own heart. And we'll see if some other comments come in on what to do with, how to handle the memorial site over the holidays. But I do want to share that Darlene Marie McMicken, I hope, Darlene, that I said that okay. She says, we fill Doug's stocking with things for his garden and wrap birdseed for the feeder. It broke me, but I needed to have something for him. And I think that's a beautiful idea. Beautiful idea. Filling it with garden stuff. So I appreciate you sharing that tip, because a lot of people, that outdoor resonates with them. So I love that. Thank you. So what else do you have, Todd, to offer viewers on how you and your family have coped with the holidays?
Well, a tip that I think is interesting to talk about is get-togethers and doing things with maybe your extended family, and you all come to visit, or you need to go visit them, and that can be kind of a stressful situation too if you, I think, don't think through it and have a plan. And I'm a former pilot, and I kind of think in terms of what can go wrong, and then what's my action going to be if something. So for example, having some idea how to deflect questions that you don't want to answer might be a good thing to think about. Having an escape plan. What are you going to do if you're feeling that surge of grief or big emotions that maybe you're not ready for, or you don't want to let out in that group. What are you going to do? And so just some things to think about are do I have a vehicle there? I'm not going with a group, for example. Can I escape if I need to, and not feel bad about doing that? Another thing that I always thought was interesting was, our tragedy was difficult, and then we'd go visit maybe 9 months later, or it was about, I guess, a year later was when Christmas and all the holiday stuff came around again. And when you go to a large family function, now your story comes back to everybody that, in a way, they didn't forget, but it wasn't fresh to them anymore. And now by walking in the door, it is. And so they're almost in shock again, because you showed up, if that makes any sense. And it's just kind of a hard place to be, because in some ways, we've gotten past that shock phase, but now we're walking in and people just kind of overwhelmed again with their own feelings, because they really hadn't had to live in it like we did.
Right. Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up. One of the things that our loved ones do, because they don't walk in our shoes, is they often want to keep us busy. They want to distract us from the pain, right? And there's no shortage of opportunities to go to, arts and craft shows, holiday festivals, concerts, ballets, what have you. And they are well-meaning in that they want to keep us busy to distract us from the pain. The truth is, nothing distracts us from the pain. The pain is always there in our heart. But going to some of those events can also add joy. And the heart can hold joy the same time as sorrow. And so pick and choose some of the events to go to, because it won't detract from your pain, but it can give you moments of joy. And I think that that's really, really important, to allow yourself moments of joy. Really, the heart can hold both. You don't have to choose. But having said that, I think it's also very, very important that we not allow our loved ones to book our calendar overfulling, because grieving is very tiresome. It can wear us out. And so when you do too much, your threshold can go down. And, it can be exhausting. I don't know about you, but I sure remember those early years where just getting out of bed took all my energy. And so if you try to do too much over the holidays, if you don't protect your schedule from people, trying to keep you busy, it can really, just like a child who gets tired, what do? They have that emotional meltdown. And so you really want to protect your time, but at the same time, you want to allow yourself to have moments of joy. That's really, really important. It doesn't mean you've forgotten your loved one. I think a lot of people are afraid to embrace joy, even this little teeny smidgens of it, because it means that they are over it or they've forgotten their loved one. And that's not true at all. So it actually, allowing yourself moments of joy gives your brain a bit of respite from the pain. And so it can be good for you. So, yes, I want to see what other comments we've got here. Mary Larson says, hello from Florida. Thank you for sharing your experiences. The 17th will be 1 year, the loss of her son, Donald. And I'm so sorry, Mary. You are coming right into the raw holiday season, your first year with the loss of your son. And I'm very, very sorry. Just know that you are not alone. We're here for you. And we've been there and we know what it's like. And truly, that first year, your job is to just breathe. Just breathe. And I can honestly say that one day it won't always feel so raw. The truth is we're 9 years out, and I love the holiday season once again. All the magic of it. And, so this first year, though, just honor your pain. And one of the tips that I have to offer is to allow yourself to cry. Crying is good for you. It's a release of that emotional buildup, and it's important. What happens when you keep it bottled inside? Your blood pressure goes up, your stress level goes up, you're not sleeping at night. And so it's okay to cry. It's a natural reaction to loss. So what do you think about that, Todd?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I found I don't cry as much, obviously, and it's been almost 7 years, but now what I've kind of come to terms with, and this may sound strange, but I actually savor the tears and the moments when that happens, because to me, those are tears of love, they're tears of their memories. Typically, what I'm thinking about Ellie when that happens. And I enjoy, I'm not sure enjoy is the right word, but it's a tender time, might be the right word.
You honor them.
Definitely. I think that for me, as opposed to being afraid of them, has been helpful to me. But at the same time, I will say, I tend to cry in the car, in the shower, or, where I'm comfortable doing that. And that works for me.
Yeah, men and women are wired different. And us women, we feel a little more comfortable shedding tears because it's accepted. And for men, you are not. It's not comfortable shedding tears in front of other people. And so wherever you are comfortable letting your tears flow, I think in the beginning, when you have those moments that just overwhelm you and you are in that dark abyss of pain and it's so deep and there's no words to explain it, those tears are scary and that you think they're never going to end. And that's part of it. And so oftentimes I remember, crying myself to sleep at night. I mean, just wailing and then crying myself to sleep. And in the morning, I always felt a little bit better. And it's because Tears are physically cleansing for your body and emotionally cleansing for your body. And so tears are good, but they are scary at first because you're wondering if you're ever going to stop crying. And Todd and I are both living proof that you do. You will always have moments, you'll always have triggers because you never stop loving your loved one. That's just how it is. You never forget them and you never stop loving them. And so you're always going to have those moments where a tear, comes to your eye, and sometimes it's a full-on meltdown, but it's okay. I promise the tears do eventually stop. So, all right, let's see if we've got more comments. We have Carla Coleman Waddle saying hello from Arkansas. Hello. Tammy Pommier, hello from Southwest Louisiana. Hello, Tammy. So Gina Marie says, I agree for a lot of things. Now holidays are even worse. My mother died, and I'm still hoping to find my father I never knew. That's a story in itself since I was 10. And the death of my marriage of 28 years. So for me, it's three things at once. And, thank you for bringing that up, Gina. We grieve many things, not just loss of a loved one. And the ending of a marriage, especially one of 28 years, is a death of sorts. And so, we can't, there's no magic cure for grief. There's no, pill that you can take that's going to make it go away. It's a process of, rebuilding ourselves after losing a loved one and after losing a marriage of 28 years. And so I'm so sorry for everything that you're going through. I do hope that you find your dad. I'm sorry for the loss of your mom, but I want to give you a little bit of hope that as you move through this holiday season, maybe next year you will have found your dad. And so the holiday season will be different for you in a very beautiful, positive way. So I'm going to say a little prayer that happens for you. So that would be a wonderful holiday gift in itself. So, okay, we've got a lot of comments, and I apologize for skipping anyone, but okay, so Carla Coleman Waddle has another thought, and I really like this. She says, we always let our children choose special ornaments each year. So we continue to put Josh's ornaments on the tree, and we continue to buy a Florida Gator ornament every year because it was his favorite team. We also buy for a child or a family in need in memory of Josh each year. And that is an excellent point. Helping others helps our own heart to heal. And one of the things that is very soothing to us is to go out and volunteer in the community. And I know that a lot of people think that that's counterintuitive. After all, it takes all the energy you have just to get out of bed. But truthfully, when you go out into the community, maybe work in the soup kitchen one day, take clothes to the homeless, volunteer at the hospital. However you do it, it is a really good reminder that we're not alone in our pain in the holiday season, that there are others who are struggling, and it truly, truly helps our own heart to heal. It's giving is good for the giver. So Todd, do you and your family do any sort of giving any time of year?
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. I think we have a ministry called Ellie's Way that purpose is to just help other grieving families and just get through their situation. And it's been, I think, what saved me. It was what I needed to get through my grief journey. And it's also turned into a life journey, into a new passion that I never even dreamed I would be involved in. So I'm so blessed to have found that and to be able to give back as a hobby and as kind of my passion when I'm not working and doing other things. But for Christmas, for example, what we do is we'll be putting together 50 memorial necklaces for 50 people that signed up for a giveaway. And I really I'm looking forward to making those. I pretty much do this by myself up here in Ellie's room. And that's where I'm at right now. And I'll put some music on, and it's probably going to take me a few nights to put all those together. But I really just, might sound strange, but I look at every one of them has a picture that's going in the necklace, and every one of those children or husbands or wives, whoever's in those necklaces, those pictures just imprint in my brain, and I remember them, and I will think about them, and it's a time of just, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's just I'm looking forward to doing it again, and I've been doing that every year. I benefit so much.
How do you choose the 50 recipients?
Well, when we first started, we were offering, we would just, hey, if anybody wants one of these, sign up. And then, as you can imagine, that didn't work after the word got out. We had way too many requests that we couldn't, there's no way to meet the demand. So we came up with another plan. So what we do now is we do giveaways of a certain amount we plan for and we can afford. And so for example, the 50 necklaces we're sending out for Christmas. And so people just sign up, and I'll get my spreadsheet going, and it'll randomly select the 50 out of the 800 or 1,000 or however many people signed up to join the giveaway and get a chance to win. And I really wish we could send 1,000 necklaces.
I know. Right.
I wish we could send one day everybody that, that's grieving. It would be wonderful. So maybe one day we can, but that's okay. We just do what we can.
And so how can viewers find your website?
Yeah, the website's elliesway.org. So it's
ELLIESWAY.org?
That's correct.
Okay. So, bless you for doing that. I think that when we keep ourselves busy over the holidays, that also helps. And when we give ourselves something to look forward to, that is a very powerful healing modality. And one of the things that we do is the 12 Nights of Kindness. And the 12 Nights of Kindness, in a nutshell, was something that I started with our two youngest years ago. And it was taking a little gift bag based upon the 12 days of Christmas to a family in the neighborhood. And the first year we picked a husband who just lost his wife to cancer, and they had 2 young adult children. And so I couldn't imagine what the holidays would be like for this family. So it was really fun to have Allie and Sean. We would trudge through the snow in the quiet of night, so not to be caught, kind of like Ding Dong Ditch, and to leave this little, present of joy and cheer on their porch every night. And you do this for 12 nights. And then on Christmas Eve, during the day, you reveal yourself. And it proved so wonderful that first year that we continued it up until our Allie died. And then I just didn't have the heart. And we stopped our family tradition. And then I started it up again when our grandson got old enough. And I thought, it will help my heart to heal. It will bring joy to someone in need. And our grandson will learn to be a giver of kindness and a messenger of hope. And he'll learn about, the beauty of giving in a time when most kids are thinking about getting. They're poring over the top 100 hot toys of the season, and what do I want? And they're writing their lists and rewriting their lists. And so this is an opportunity to teach him. So I got out the family tradition, dusted it off, and we started it up. And this will be the 3rd year again. And last year, we picked a family where the wife was dying of cancer. She was still alive, but she was end-stage cancer. And I knew that the family knew this was going to be their final holiday season. And so how could we give little bits of joy to them during such a difficult, painful time? And it was so, so, so wonderful. And she did die 4 weeks after Christmas. And so it really lifts my heart to know that we gave them a little bit of joy. And so when we create things for ourselves that, bring us happiness, giving is good for the giver. So, and if you want to start the 12 Nights of Kindness with your own family, teaching your children to be givers of kindness, and also if you don't have children or grandchildren, you can be you do it on your own, because again, it really helps to lift our own heart. You can go to my website, lindafell.com, and up in the top right-hand corner, click on the 12 Nights of Kindness, and it's free printout of the instructions, the backstory, and the nightly poems. You just cut them out, and it's very inexpensive, but it's a wonderful way to lift the hearts of others in need and help our own heart to heal. So that's what we do to give. Well, let me see if we've got viewers who have any thoughts here. So I want to share, Misty Pickens says, and this is in relation to what to do with the memorial, how to decorate it. She says, her memorial stone and resting place is decorated with a small pink Christmas tree with solar lights and some of her favorite Christmas ornaments. I love that, Misty, because those solar lights will glow at night. So how cool is that? That is, and I love pink. Pink's my favorite color. So, and I think I'm a little behind on the comments here. So I'll scroll up, see if we can see what some of our viewers do to give. Oh, Misty Pickens says, blessed by Alleyway Group. So there you go, Todd. How cool. Okay, Barbara Lynn, we do Operation Christmas child boxes. This year, I started a new tradition to start putting up outside decorations, which is cool. Putting up outside decorations when you don't feel like it somehow does lift your spirits. So thank you, Barbara. That's really cool. Barbara, if you can, tell us what you mean by Operation Christmas child boxes. That sounds wonderful, and I want to learn more. And then in reference to the empty chair at the table, Cheryl Kendall Menchaca says, we put a picture on the table or set a place for my mom. She has never forgotten, especially at the table. I love that. I love that. Another thing you can do is when you have the empty seat at the table, invite someone who has lost someone they love and would be alone over the holidays. It's called Set an Empty Plate. And it's something that Mary Lee Robinson of the Widow or Widower Next Door and myself started a couple of years ago, called this Set an Extra Plate. Doesn't cost any extra money, but set a plate for someone who is grieving and would otherwise be spending the holidays alone. And so that's another way to make use of that empty chair, so it's not just sitting there as a painful reminder. And you give someone who would otherwise be alone a place to go for the holidays, so they're not quite so lonely. Okay. So Amez Peace says, I've been gift wrapping volunteering at a mall for a charity, and I'll do it again this year. Dad loved getting gifts ready. So she is volunteering, gift wrapping at a mall for charity. That's cool. Very, very cool. I think that's neat. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, so why don't you give us another tip, Todd, that you guys, I have a few more tips to share as well. And again, viewers, if you've got tips to share how you weathered the holidays, please post it and we will try to read it. And if we don't read it, it will still be read by many, many people. So please share your own ways of coping with the holidays. But Todd, what's another tip that you and your family do?
Well, I think taking care of yourself is a huge,
good one.
Thing. That sometimes I forget, but I think getting good sleep, eating well, and exercise. Whenever I do it, I never regret it. So it's always seems to be, a good antidepressant that God made for us, and get the blood flowing, and maybe some time to think, and and it just does a body good and a mind good. So I'd recommend all those things, and especially during the holidays when you're a little tired, a little more stressed. All those, and taking care of yourself will help you and help you better, better dad, better mom, better husband or wife, and support others. Or if you have the strength to do that. So I'd recommend that.
Self-care is very, very important. That sleep deprivation can really wreak havoc with our emotions. And so practicing good sleep hygiene, eating right. And I know that that's really hard over the holidays because some of us really love the holiday cookies. I love the holiday desserts, the holiday treats, all of the above. And of course, puts us in a carb coma. But eating healthy when you can is very helpful. Drinking lots of water to stay hydrated, that kind of thing. And also that exercise. I walk every morning. And I actually walk in the cemetery where our daughter is resting in peace. It brings me a lot of comfort. And I walk with a friend, so she keeps me honest. And, getting out there every morning really helps. So I agree wholeheartedly with you. I know that we often don't want to exercise, thinking I'm too tired or this, that, or the other, but it is good for you. It releases those endorphins in the brain and it'll bring down your blood pressure. It actually helps you sleep at night. So it's very good. And I see some more comments coming in. Barbara Lynn, Operation Christmas boxes are affiliated with Billy Graham family / Samaritan's Purse. All the little toys, school supplies that you find in a little shoebox gets sent to children around the world that may not otherwise have toys or school supplies. Super, super cool. So Operation Christmas through Billy Graham. I'm sure that someone can Google it. But Barbara, if you have the time, if you don't mind grabbing that link and posting it here in the thread, that would be wonderful so people don't have to search for it. But what a cool thing, because, there are children who don't receive Christmas toys. And I know that, Christmas is Jesus's birthday. And so many people say it's not about the toys. Well, when you're a child, what you see on TV is toys galore. What you see in the stores, toys galore. And so it's hard for them to keep it in perspective. And so, donating toys for those that don't get any, again, it lifts your heart. I mean, there's nothing that feels better than helping someone else. So very good. Thank you, Barbara. I think that's fantastic. So Beth Carnes. Beth says, my son's birthday was Christmas Eve. He died 3.5 years ago. I no longer do Christmas. I am alone and I have no one. And Beth, I'm so, so, so sorry. And I'm sorry that you feel alone. My thoughts for you are that you are not alone. There are many others who also feel alone. And when we unite, we can lean on one another. And so have you joined any of the Facebook groups? Ellie's Way has some closed groups. Grief the Unspoken has some closed groups. There's quite a few closed groups just for grievers. And that is a wonderful place to meet people who speak your lost language. And that's very, very important. In fact, that's one of my tips tonight, is to reach out for support, because you don't have to be alone. Even if you feel abandoned by your family or you don't have family, there are others in your community. They're also, thanks to technology, they're online. Find people who speak your lost language and you will discover you're not alone. And even better, you're going to find new friendships. And often those friendships are absolute collateral blessings. What I mean by that is they wouldn't have come about any other way except for losing a loved one. And yet they are some of the best friendships that life offers, because you're stripped of all your differences. You're united by the heart and you can talk about your loss and you are understood and embraced. And so do reach out to support groups in your area. And I know that it can be awkward to just suddenly show up. So find the coordinator and let them know ahead of time that you're looking for an extra support over the holiday season, but you're feeling nervous about coming. And so they will know to expect you, and they will sit with you. And, it's just wonderful, just wonderful. Also, there's hospice. And I know that many people think, well, my loved one didn't die of cancer. Well, hospice is for everyone. Not many people know that, but hospice is for everyone. And so hospice, your church, check with your church. A lot of churches have really nice grief support groups going now. And that's another place. And then also, again, on the closed groups on Facebook. And so you don't have to be alone. I know it feels isolating when you don't have family nearby or even in your life, but you aren't alone. There's others who share your journey. And when you join us, you actually help me feel better. So I hope that you do. Keep us posted. Okay. Let us know who you reach out to and how it goes. But we are here for you. That's why we're doing this. So tonight you're not alone. You're with us. Any thoughts on that, Todd?
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, and I highly recommend. Our church had a group called Grief Share, which is in a lot of communities. You go to their website, griefshare.org. You can find one nearby if there is one, and I would guess most places would have that. But I highly recommend it. I actually facilitated it for a couple of years, and then eventually it was time. I had other things that I had to spend my time doing with my kids through high school and all. But I really enjoyed being part of a group where people came in, and what I really believe is, when we lose somebody, we don't know how to deal with that. There wasn't any. I wasn't reading grief books before Ellie died, or I generally try to avoid that the whole topic, and was uncomfortable with death and dying and dealing with it. So I was completely unprepared. I had no idea what to do, what was going on, what I could expect, all those kinds of things, and even just coping strategies, things like that. So that course, for example, like a lot of the other ones that are out there, it provides good information that I needed, and even more than that, it provided different amounts of people that understood and was safe. You could talk, share, and they all were hurting too, and it was hard in the beginning, but by the time we were done with the 13-week course, we were friends. We looked forward to going and being with each other, and that was what one of the many things that got me through was that experience.
Yep.
So I highly recommend that. And then I think too, I agree with the closed groups. I think we live in a time. I like to say we're so lucky to have this technology. Where
yes.
Imagine 30, 40 years ago when we were in all of our situations, and I'm not sure everybody can relate to this, but you kind of feel like like in our neighborhood or our community, as far X miles, what we're experiencing. But if you bring it out to a larger scale, like a national scale, there's people that you can get support from in these groups almost anytime you need it, and that's a real blessing. And I can't imagine just being out, living on a isolated farm, 35 years ago, and something that would happen similar, and just not having an outlet, not having a way to connect and share.
Right. We do have the benefit of surrounding ourselves either virtually or in person with others who speak our lost language, and it's very, very comforting. When I first lost Ellie, I did not want to go to a support group. I was adamant. I just thought, I am in so much emotional pain that I can't possibly surround myself with other mothers who are in pain too. And so I was really against it. And long story short, my first support group that I attended, I was actually speaking at. And I left there feeling like I got so much more than I gave. And now I speak to different groups. And every time I leave there feeling like I got so much more than I gave. And they are just wonderful. And so if you are in an area where there are no support groups, start one. Miss Foundation, the Compassionate Friends, there's a widow, I'm just drawing a total blank right now. As if grief doesn't mess with our memory, right? Wrong. Soaring Spirits International. That's a widow one. The Widower Support Network. That's another one. There's lots of different, Bereaved Parents USA. And so call them and start your own local chapter. It's kind of like if you build it, they will come. People will say, oh my gosh, finally someone, for me. So don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to do this. I see lots of comments. I'm getting a little behind here. Okay. So Cheryl Kendall says, Beth, there's no way to move on. It's just learning to bear it, adjust to this new life without. It's hard. I hate when people say move on. And people mean well. And so if they have not lost a loved one, they can't possibly understand, nor would we want them to. We would not want them to understand the depth of the pain that we experience when we lose a loved one. So they say things that mean well. And it's really an opportunity to practice grace, because if they're trying to make us feel better, and even though the words feel like it's a platitude or a cliche, they're doing the best that they can because they just don't understand. And so with moving on, it's unique to everyone. And so some people say you don't move, on, you move through it. You can't go around it or under it. And I like to think that you move forward with your loved one still in your heart. So you move forward with them. And that's how it works for my mind. And maybe that might help some of you, that, we don't get through it because it's not something that is ever goes away. It's not something that, like you have a broken leg and it heals. Well, that's not how it works with grief. You learn to move on and look forward to the rest of your life with your loved one still in your heart. And so that's how I think about it. What about you, Todd? What is your thought on that? When people say to you, it's time to move on, what's your reaction?
Yeah, I actually like the move forward as a concept. And I agree totally with the opportunity to show grace, because what I tend to try to frame almost everything is, when I look back before Ellie died and I look at me, and I look at a lot of situations that happened that now that I look back on, I know I didn't handle very well. And I know I didn't mean to be sensitive at the time, but I just didn't have a clue. And a lot of times I was afraid. And I'll give you just kind of a short little story on that. I was, my sons played baseball, and I went to go to a pitching lesson, a hitting lesson with a baseball coach. And I was just there with him, and I said to him, well, how many kids do you have? The question you ask somebody when you're getting to know them. And he said, well, I've got a couple sons, and one of my sons is in heaven, and he committed suicide a couple of years ago. And I just remembered at the time, this was before Ellie died, I just kind of lost my breath. I was kind of like, just didn't know what to say, and I don't think I really said much. And, just kind of let the situation go, kind of at the time, hoping that we could get through that, and I look back and I think, wow, that was not good. And so anyway, but it all came back to me, because I wound up, after Ellie died, I wound up going to a baseball game. And I thought about all that, and I thought, wow, I just blew it, and I had no idea, but I wanted to go and reconnect. And he knew what had happened with our daughter. And I went over to him and I just apologized. I said, there was a time when you shared with me, and I know I didn't honor that, and I didn't really give you much in any way, shape, form of comfort that I would want to now, and so I just share that story to just share that, everybody has lots of room for growth, all of us, and I still do. And I'll even say this, I don't say the right things now. There's times I comment something, or, talking to somebody, and I still don't have all the right things to say now, you know what I mean? And so, sometimes I think, oh, I really need to say something different, and I'm sure we all do that. So I tend to just try to then understand if that should happen to somebody else.
Yeah. People often ask me, so-and-so lost, neighbor Betty lost her husband. What do I say? What do I do? And what I tell them? You hug, listen, and repeat. That's it. There are no words, because if words could have fixed it, we would have said them by now. And so there are no words. And so just listen, hug, repeat. And hugging them is just priceless. A hug is the best thing that you can do, because you can't make their pain go away, but you can be with them in their pain and hold that sacred space for them for a few minutes. and just listen to them, ramble, repeat, wail, cry, laugh, all in the same sentence. Allow them that, because when they do that, they're processing their loss. It's important. And so just listen to them, hug, and repeat. And so I think many people are afraid of the bereaved. I remember when we first lost Allie, people would see me and they'd go to the other side of the street. They did not know what to do with me. And so that's why I think it's important that we help train future generations that it's okay to feel awkward, because it's scary to all of us, but there are no words to fix it. So just listen, hug, repeat. It's very simple. So I want to share a few more tips. I know we've got just a few minutes left, and I've got 10 tips myself that has been published. Huffington Post published them last year, and I keep thinking, well, how can I improve upon these each holiday season? But it's really pretty basic common sense, and one of them is that if you are the family matriarch or the family cook, and grieving is a naturally distracting time because you've got pain brain, right? And so your brain is operating on, with different processes going on there. And so it's very distracting. And so if the family expects the full meal from you, they still want Great Aunt Gertrude's handmade rolls and your famous pumpkin pies and this and that, cut yourself some slack. Because, and by deli, it's okay to make some things from scratch, but go buy some of it from the deli. Your family will never know. And the truth is that because grief is distracting, that is setting up for the perfect storm of a kitchen accident, and the ER is not a great place to dine. So you really don't want to risk that. So, buy store-bought. The whole meal doesn't have to be store-bought, but, go easy on yourself. So that's one of them. Because I think of how many people cut themselves accidentally with a kitchen knife, even if they aren't grieving. Well, when you're grieving, you're distracted. And so you really want to minimize the potential for an accident. So buy store-bought. Another one is to treat your senses to TLC. And what I mean by that is that, grief is hard. And so your body, by treating your 5 senses, your tactile senses, to things that feel good, it is a reminder to your physical body that not all pleasure is lost in life. Okay. And so what are some of the 5 ways that you can treat your body to TLC? Well, one of my favorite ways is whipped cream on my hot cocoa. That is taste. It counts. I don't allow myself whipped cream any other time of year. Wearing a really luxurious scarf. That can feel really, really good. Lighting a scented candle. Some people, pumpkin spice is their go-to. For others, it might be a vanilla or the scent of baking cookies. But light a candle that smells really good. It's aromatherapy. It's truly therapeutic. And so it, it smells good, and it can really lift your spirits. Different ways. Listen to holiday music. And if you find yourself starting to sing along, don't stop, because singing is good for your soul. So put on, your favorite Christmas album. And Amy Grant is one of my go-tos for, that's what our daughter loved. And for a long time, I couldn't listen to Amy Grant songs. And, but yet, singing them, even in the car, oh boy, that gets you, gives you, again, a respite from the pain. So singing, listening to children laughing, that is a wonderful, wonderful sound. The birds chirping. And also, one of my other tips is to have a good belly laugh at least once a day. Laughter really is good medicine. And so when you're grieving, where do you find a good belly laugh? Well, put on Elf, or put on, the Three Stooges, or I Love Lucy, or Gilligan's Island, or, something silly and funny, binge watch, a funny sitcom. Put on a good funny holiday show, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, whatever. Whatever gives you a good belly laugh, but make sure you do a good belly laugh at least once every day. It's good for your oxygenation. It releases endorphins into your brain, and it really is good medicine. So, Todd, do you have any other tips?
Well, the last one that I can think of for now is just, it's kind of similar to what you've been talking about, but just, make a plan perhaps and write down all the things that maybe you think you need to do, and then prioritize, and maybe cross off 20 or 30% of your list, and get rid of the stuff that really, doesn't really have to be done, or somebody else can do, things like that. I think that's a way to de-stress and make it a little easier on yourself.
That's a good one. Skip the chaos. I call that skipping the chaos. The holiday season is a very, very busy time of year for most people. And, trying to attend all the events and, doing all the shopping and this, that, and the other, it can be very chaotic, and it can really deplete your energy very quickly. So skipping the chaos as much as you can and protecting your time will really cut down on your stress. And, for holiday shopping, I love a mom and pop store, the brick and mortar store, but it's okay for a year or two or three or four to order everything off Amazon. It's, again, it's cutting yourself some slack. It's okay. So I want to see what our final comments are. Online shopping, Cheryl Kendall says online shopping works. Teresa Jarvis Wooding says, thank you, Linda and Todd. And thank you, Teresa, for joining us tonight. Light your candles. Keep out of the darkness. Shell Foster says that. I love that. There is something about a lit candle that is very soothing, and it kind of just lowers your stress, and especially if it's a scented candle. But it's a reminder that every star shines in darkness. So even though the world feels dark around you because your heart is grieving, a little candle is a reminder that the light is still there. So beautiful. All right, everyone. MSP says, thanks, Linda and Todd, for hosting and sharing. And thank you, MS, for joining us. It's always a pleasure. And the truth is, Todd and I get so much more out of this than we give. It helps our own hearts to heal. And so thank you for joining us. And if you have your own tips for how you and your family cope with the holidays, please continue to post them in this thread, because this video will be shared around to different social media sites for even more people. And so they're going to see your own suggestions, because you share our shoes, and some of you speak our same lost language. And for those of you that don't, other people who speak your lost language are going to benefit from you sharing your tips. So thank you for joining us tonight. Happy holidays. And for those of you that have a heart full of pain, with this being your first holiday season, reach out to Todd or myself anytime. We are happy to surround you with a virtual hug. It's what we do. We will say a prayer for you because we believe in the power of prayer. And for everyone else, wishing you all a warm and happy holiday season. So good night, Todd.
Good night and happy holidays. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, you know what? Before we forget, I lost Todd. So you can find Todd under Ellie's Way. It's ELLIESWAY.org. And you can find me. Oh, I think you're coming back in.
Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to get the camera back on.
That was my fault. Where can people find you?
Probably the easiest place is Facebook, and search for Ellie's Way. And you can find our public page there, message Ellie's Way that way. If you'd like to join our group, there's a group that you can click on that page as well. And otherwise, just go to our website and click the contact button. A bunch of different ways you can reach me.
So if they want to join one of your closed groups, how do they do that?
Just search for Ellie's Way Group is our main group on Facebook, and click join. And there'll be a few questions that just to help us, screen and make sure that you know, people are getting in that shouldn't. So just please answer the questions, and then you'll be in really quick. We've got a lot of people that monitor that process, and be right in there and get any help that you might be looking for. And the other thing I'd say too is, even if you're not sure about joining a group like that, you can join. You don't have to participate. You can kind of be a fly on the wall as long as you want. And when you're ready, I'd say just, share a picture, share your story. And I know you will be amazed at the amount of compassionate people that'll reach out to you, encourage you. And so when that time comes, just rest in that, and then realize all those people will be there for you. So you're not alone.
You're not alone. And so if someone wants to email you, how can they reach you via email?
Todd Nigro, it's TODDNIGRO at elliesway.org.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to reach out to me, my website is lindafell.com or griefdiaries.com. And my email is linda@lindafell.com. So thank you so much for joining us. We wish you all a warm and wonderful weekend and holiday season. Take care. Bye-bye.